Tell You What podcast. We got a great episode. As joining me as always as my co-host, Steve Ellis. And Steve, obviously we got a great podcast here with our good friend Doug Ast and Laura Young. We're going to talk about the blood cancer unit and what their mission is. It's going to be great to hear what they have to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, as we have talked many times about how blood cancer has affected everybody, both personally and or know somebody, and no more no less than me. It's hard to believe, Danny, it was 29 years ago that my dad passed away from leukemia, and every day, it still affects us, and we all know that. And then as recently as 4 years ago, my daughter Abby was doing basically what Doug's doing right now, as far as running a campaign that we're going to talk about to raise money, and it's a very, very cool thing, and I'm honored to be a part of it. So I'm anxious to talk to Doug and to Lauren here about what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, you're right about that. It's and then my brother Mike has leukemia too as well, so it's all kind of comes back around, and you don't realize how many people it affects. So it's going to be good to talk to them. So as we said, joining us is Doug Ast and Lauren Young. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
No problem. So let's get a little bit started real quick. Just a little bit talk about both you guys. Talk a little bit about yourself, and then obviously how you two got connected.
Yeah, I mean, I can jump in, Doug, if you want me to start. So yeah, I'm Lauren Young. I work for Blood Cancer United, formerly the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. I think that's really where, people might still recognize that name, but we transitioned to Blood Cancer United this past September. I work on a campaign called Visionaries of the Year, and just started that position actually right when the name change happened. So I hit the ground running and was looking for folks to be a part of the campaign. And Doug was recommended to me by one of our leadership committee members, Dave Feck, as somebody who had just been touched by blood cancer. So it was kind of kismet. I was new. I had no real connections in Cincinnati, but right off the bat, Dave was like, this guy, first of all, wonderful person, also has really been through it and seen the devastation that blood cancer can really bring to someone's life. So it was a really unfortunate coincidence. We don't ever want to lose someone or see someone go through this, but I was really excited to find him because he's such a great candidate and just really excited about participating.
Lauren, I have a question. So how and why did they change the names, or how did that all evolve?
It was a long process, as I'm sure you know. You kind of weigh the pros and cons of brand recognition versus how do we evolve and keep people in the fold. But I think it all came down to there are over 100 types of blood cancer, and leukemia lymphoma is a two name, right? So it doesn't really show all that we do, and it doesn't help people feel included in our resources. You could have a really, like Doug, I'm sure when we touch on Doug's brother, Jeff, multiple myeloma, right? It's not leukemia and lymphoma and multiple myeloma. Maybe he didn't know that we had those resources because of the name. So it was a change to be more inclusive, a change so that people knew that any type of blood cancer, we have resources, support. We are, doing the research. We have great research projects going on as well. So I think that was the overall reasoning.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so important that, everything's included in that. And I think you're probably able to do more campaigns and get more rather than just focusing on one type.
Yeah. And I think that's also what makes this year exciting too, right? It's our first year as Blood Cancer United. It's kind of our inaugural kickoff as Visionaries of the Year for Blood Cancer United.
Yeah. Well, let's get into you, Doug, a little bit. Tell us about how all this started, getting involved in this. And she had mentioned, how somebody had nominated you and how all that just, I'm sure your head was spinning from the get-go on this.
Yeah, it was happening right in the middle of basketball season. So there was a lot going on at the time. Like she said, Dave Feck nominated me. yeah, they kind of had to sell it to me because I really wasn't sure what the heck it really was all about. Just because I hadn't done anything like this before. Um, but what's kind of crazy is, Dave and I, we live in the same neighborhood. He had cancer, I had cancer. Uh, we're survivors there. And when he asked me to do this, he had no idea that we had just lost Jeff to blood cancer. So it's kind of like, wow, it's kind of you know, a big slap in the face saying, hey, this is something you need to do and you're going to do it. And so Lauren was super cool and Dave was super cool. So I said, yeah, let's give it a shot. And then Steve, I kind of reached out to you about it. You were telling me about Abby did it and all that stuff. So that kind of made me, a little more confident what I was getting into.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I'm sure it's overwhelming, but yeah, you do have a great team, and hopefully it continues. But let's try to explain a little bit, and either one of you can touch upon this on the length of it. I believe it's 10 weeks, and the idea of what you're trying to do. And there's no losers in this, but what the person, the goal is trying to get as far as the money and what the top money person gets, how that affects everybody. Either one of you.
Lauren.
Yeah, I can jump in. So Visionaries of the Year, it's a national competition actually. So tons of markets, tons of cities across the United States. Everyone's doing the same thing right around this time, right around springtime. We are kind of revving up and raring to go. It's a 10-week competition, like you said, Steve. So me as the campaign manager, my job is to find community leaders, people who maybe have that connection or who just want to make a difference and see the effect that blood cancer research has, not only on blood cancer, but on other types of cancers as well. And so it's my job to find candidates, and those candidates form teams. You've mentioned teams a few times. I think that's something that sets it apart a little bit, is a lot of people in a lot of different organizations fundraise as individuals. This is a real team effort. So those candidates form teams, and then they come to me, and we come up with fundraising plans to reach out, personal asks, letters, emails, tons of digital resources, events. I know you guys have an event coming up, but it's really a great, full, fun-packed 10 weeks. But I'm sure Doug can tell you a lot of the work happened in maybe the 2 months beforehand, where we really planned for these 10 weeks. So it is that competition. And, we have 5 candidates this year in Cincinnati, and those people are competing against each other to be titled Visionary of the Year in Cincinnati. And whoever raises the most money will be named Visionary of the Year.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, Doug, talk about the planning and talk about the team name.
Well, the team name's Team Astro. I kind of got that from Jeff. A lot of the softball guys back in the day, he was always known as Astro. So, I thought it was pretty fitting. So that's where the name came from. As far as the planning, yeah, a lot of planning early on. And honestly, I couldn't get to all of it. I mean, I did a lot, but we're still trying to plan events. We're still doing things throughout the during the middle of the campaign too. So, it's just like Lauren said, a lot of letters. I think our team sent over 250 letters total, and those are really good. And social medias and events and things like that we've been doing. So hopefully it pays off here at the end. I know, Lauren, I don't know if you want to get into it now, but you want to maybe discuss, you said it was a competition and there's 5 of us, and what happens at the end with the gala and stuff and such.
Yeah. So yeah, at the end of the 10 weeks, everybody comes together, all 5 candidates, and sometimes team members, sometimes other people in the community come together at a gala. We call it our grand finale. So that'll be in June, the first week of June. We come together, and there's a couple different awards. We have awards for mission. We have awards, a couple, some surprises. So I can't give too much away. But then at the very end, we have our winner from last year, who Sam Chasnoff, who I know Doug, you got to meet at our workshop. He'll announce not only he'll announce the winner, but also the runner up. And then anybody as well who was who was able to raise $50,000 or more, they'll be mentioned as well, because $50,000, which I know is Doug's goal, that is kind of a huge number for us. That's where we start to the benefits of raising $50,000 as a candidate are they start to really kick in, as aside from your money is going to blood cancer research, but you also can link your campaign to a specific fundraising, or excuse me, research portfolio. So if Doug hits $50,000, if he's able to raise that money, he can link his fundraiser he can do it in honor of Jeff, and his name and campaign can be linked to maybe a multiple myeloma research project that we're currently working on. He'll get updates on breakthroughs. He'll get updates as money comes in, and there's any updates that there are for that portfolio. But that's kind of an exciting thing too. That's why we try to encourage people to aim for 50K, especially if they have that connection.
So the planning part of it, I'm sure that's got to be extremely hard. I do a golf outing every year, and I pull my hair out, which I don't have much there anymore. But it's crazy that Doug, you're doing multiple, I guess, things to get this. How do you keep everything straight, and the help and getting people involved to try to help with this? Because I know that you need a lot of people to help run some kind of event. So how like did you start when you first came on board, and then you came up with a bunch of ideas? How did all that pan out for you?
Well, I mean, it all started with Lauren. I mean, she's the campaign manager for me, and she's been a huge help. And she's pretty much, it's kind of a white glove type of service. At least the structure and the format, they lay it out for you, give you a whole bunch of resources to start, workbooks, Excel spreadsheets, things like that help you kind of keep track of everything. And, actually it's kind of like work. It's like my job, my daily job. So those types of tools and resources have been a big help. So, but yeah, I've got like 20 some people on our team. Some have been extremely helpful. Others have kind of done certain things. Others haven't done so much, but they've been there for me. And so the support has been really, really cool. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot. And, I put on a golf outing too, and Steve and I coached 9 months out of the year and work in the day job. So it is a lot. But again, when, just losing Jeff, and this was put in my lap, I had to do it. I don't care. So I do a lot of work at night. I've got a set up here at the house. So I do a lot of work then. So.
No, that's incredible. And I just know the hard work that, for that. And especially the love that you had for your brother kind of is the why, and why you're trying to help push that too as well. But yeah, I mean, that's just, I know a pretty difficult things, but can you talk about some of the things that you have had, that you have planned, or, that you've got coming up, or that you have done already?
Well, a lot of it, what we've done so far, sending out letters to people, getting responses back, sending out emails, posting on social media, multiple avenues to try to, get awareness out there and raise some funds. A lot of text messages have been sent, phone calls. So, the whole gamut, right? Whatever you can do to reach out to people, we're going to do it. As far as events, we really haven't had many events, just because, number one, they're kind of difficult to get together, because if you have multiple events, you're going to be stepping on people 2 or 3 times, let alone sending letters and emails. So, I really didn't want to bombard, my network of friends and family. So at the end of this, May 31st, we've got a very, very large event coming up at the Anderson Tap House. Dan Varner is going to be playing. The Duncan duo is going to be playing from the Richmond. We're going to have split the pots, raffles, silent auctions, cornhole tournament. So yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Tom Brenneman from 700 WLW is going to be announcing it this week about that. So that should be kind of cool to hear that on 700. So yeah. So, again, I just didn't want to go crazy and have 5 or 6 events and, spend everyone's donation money and that. I wanted to have one really big, cool event to celebrate Jeff and, raise as much money as we can.
Yeah, and that's a good place to have it. Dan Varner does an awesome job. We obviously know Dan too, and having Tom help out. I mean, that you got a good group of connections there, and I think that'll be an absolutely fun day. I think you said it was what, the 31st is what you said?
Yeah, May 31st, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. So it's come and go as you want. We're going to do split the pots every hour, so people get to give them opportunities to win, things like that. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of raffle items, some big time raffle items.
That's good.
Every day I see more and more raffle items. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, yeah.
Some Ohio State stuff,
Yeah.
Michigan stuff. I'll leave it at that. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Do what?
I said no UC stuff. I mean,
Not yet. I'm looking for donations. Can you get me some?
Tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
Dan,
So
I
it's
don't
gonna be a lot
know.
of fun.
If you don't mind, I would love to just chat really quick about, he talked about the beginning, what have we done so far? Those direct asks, I think that is what scares people the most. They think, I cannot ask my friends for help financially. They think it's an uncomfortable thing. I'll be real. This was a new position for me. That made me uncomfortable too. It would make me
Right.
uncomfortable if I were a candidate. The minute you start, the minute you write that letter, that you write that email, you make that phone call, you realize not only how many people have been affected, but that people are really just open to helping in any way they can. Sometimes it's not financial, sometimes it's not a donation, but when it comes to fundraising, that is how you fundraise the most money. People think, oh, I'll just throw a couple events together. That's not really gonna help move the needle or make that difference for you. Getting, putting yourself out there, telling your story, not only emotionally is great for everybody to kind of like get that camaraderie and say, oh my gosh, I have been through this too, or I can't believe you went through this, let me support you. But it also, it really, it moves the needle for you as that candidate. So luckily, Doug, sometimes people are really hesitant and they never get over that hump. Luckily, Doug he's been so great at, I hate to say the word coached, because how am I the coach? You guys are the coaches, but we share what we know. This campaign's been going on for decades. How, we know what works and we know what doesn't work, and direct asks, asking people, sharing your story, that is what works. That is what raises the most money for this campaign, and then makes the biggest difference in blood cancer research.
Well, I can vouch for Doug. I mean, when he was asked about this, I mean, it wasn't even a second thought. And anything Doug does, everybody that knows Doug, once he's in, he's 150% in. So he's all in, and everybody that knows and loves Doug is going to be all in with him. Lauren, I want to ask you if you can kind of help with the why part, as far as the donating part, and if you have stats as far as, I think I saw somewhere it's like 200,000 people are diagnosed every year in the U.S. Or, I mean, can you kind of help explain that a little bit?
Yeah, you're on the nose there. Every year 200,000 people are diagnosed with a form of blood cancer. It comes out to about every 3 minutes somebody gets that news that they have blood cancer. And it makes more sense when you think about what, like I said, there's over 100 types. So there's quite a variety, quite a lot of ground to cover. Yeah. So, and I think Doug can really vouch for the fact that, I'm sure he didn't know about our organization 5-6 months ago, but now I'm sure the stats have just been coming at you about how important all this research is. We as Blood Cancer United, we're the largest global nonprofit that's dedicated to patient support, advocacy in government, and research. And since our inception, I think we've donated we've raised over $2 billion just for blood cancer. Yeah, so I think you can say a lot of stats, but even just anecdotally, a diagnosis of leukemia, I know you said you've lost someone. A diagnosis of leukemia 30 years ago looked so different than it does today. People are walking around in remission, not having to think about it anymore. Some kind of diagnosis that maybe 30 years ago was a death sentence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish it
And
was back
Steve,
then. Yeah.
yeah, I know. And just by doing this campaign, I've I've heard from 6 people that said they either were just currently or recently diagnosed with blood cancer, or their parents died of blood cancer or something. So, this campaign is incredible. It's gonna it's gonna impact so many people's lives, and even the trial and the study that I went through 15 years ago, people are starting to, the Keytrudas and these types of drugs, the immunotherapy drugs. That's what that was my trial. That's what saved my life. And now it's actually helping people save their lives today. It's kind of crazy. So yeah.
Yeah.
So as soon as this came around, I'm like, as soon as I fully understood what Lauren was getting at, I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and to add to that, when you talk about the planning that Danny was asking about, that I mean, we got some fun stuff that we can promote. Danny can put out there, like with the restaurants coming up. Go to Cane's and a couple of the other restaurants that are going to be willing to help contribute, and hopefully, we can get a lot of people to go to these places. And as we all know, because we're watching this daily, trying to get that number to get over the plateau, and we're hoping that we can make a difference in some of those restaurants, so that once we get to the that May 31st show with Dan Varner, that it's going to put us over the top.
Yeah, yeah. I think May 13th, May 13th, I believe, is the date where we've got Canes. I think it's in the evening, like 6 to 9. They give a certain portion of what they make to us. So yeah, that was really good. I think Abby set that up actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we've got other ones on the way, and they're going to be doing some things. And I know we've got
Chipotle
yeah,
June 2nd, right? I
yeah,
think. Yeah.
yep. I think that's right. So we've got yeah, that's right. So we've got
I know it's
teammates
hard to
that
keep
are.
up. It's hard to keep up with everything because you
It
guys are
is.
every
You
day.
got
It's like I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this.
yeah. There's so many people helping.
Some people might be familiar with that, others don't. I know people that have kids in high school, they do all that stuff. But explain how that works, like the restaurants and stuff, as far as that goes. So, is it everything that you buy there, or is it a certain percentage, or how does that all work?
Yeah, so it depends on, every restaurant's a little bit different. I believe for Cane's, it's 25% of your order. If you go in and say, you have to be really explicit. You have to say, I'm here for the Blood Cancer United fundraiser. They may even require you to have the app just to show it. So there's sometimes there's that fine print, but typically it's 25% at Raising Cane's, and I believe it's 15% at Chipotle of your order. So it is, it's all about numbers. We want people to make their way, choose to have dinner at that location. Especially, I know your community is pretty tight knit, so you shouldn't have a problem. But yeah, it is all about getting those numbers there, and also following the little fine print that every restaurant has that's different.
Well, Steve, I think you and I should go to Cane's and have a contest and see who can eat the most, or see who can eat, do some kind of contest, get everybody up there. And
Yeah, those are some delicious choices. I feel like it's not pulling teeth to get people to go eat that food. It's
I've
good.
got it locked in, and I'm going to go through the drive-through like 3 times.
Hey, Danny, I
Yeah.
got a text from Moose today, and he said he's having his JV and varsity Anderson baseball team go there after the games.
How about
Perfect.
that?
So yeah, that'll work
Look
out.
at that.
There's 20 plus
Yeah,
right there. Yeah.
that is awesome. And I guess I don't, for me, doing this is good too, because I'll be honest, I don't know, I didn't really know much about it. I mean, I know Steve's dad went through it, Doug, I know kind of you went through it, and then obviously my brother's kind of going through some of that stuff too. And I think it's important for people to understand what it does. I mean, I'll be honest, the stats that I just saw, it kind of blew me away that you have. And so hopefully this podcast will, help kind of spread it around the Anderson area. We can, and out and above. I mean, it's, maybe Steve and I can do a couple little quick, you know, little little things there before the day they eat,
Sure.
and maybe Steven out there. But
Yeah, we'll mention it.
I know
Sure.
there's a lot, we've kind of tried to get as much as we can here, but is there anything that you guys would like to add, or something that we have not talked about that you feel is pretty important to mention?
I mean, I'll mention real quick that I think one thing that people would be surprised to know about is that, and I remember specifically telling you this, Doug, at your nomination meeting, that blood cancer research makes such a difference for other types of cancers, because blood cancer, you can test blood over and over and over, right? It's like a living laboratory. So with like a hard tumor, sometimes it can take a long time to get research done, because it's very difficult to access, or it's very time consuming, expensive, painful. But you can give blood during your treatment, and that can be studied over and over and over again, so you can see how some kind of treatment's working, how a pill is working, how an immunotherapy, a specified targeted therapy, is working. And then that research can go and be utilized in other types of cancer. So it really helps everybody. It's not just like this blood cancer silo. It can go into treatments for other types of cancer as well.
So, Doug, you got anything else that you want to add, or anything?
Not so much on what Lauren just brought up, but no, I mean, I just I'm doing this for awareness, raise as much money as we can, help as many people as we can. I know what we went through, and I know what Jeff went through, which was awful. So anything I can do to help people, not have to go through it or avoid it or help them get through it, I'm going to do it. So I'm very thankful that Dave Feck and Lauren reached out to me to do this.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Lauren, just before we get out of here, we encourage everybody out there that's listening and watching right now, to try to, learn more about it if they can, donate more, try to support the campaign. Can you just give some of the people out there, some places where they can go to look, and where they can donate or anything like that?
Yeah. Well, besides even just donating, I do want to also plug, because I always want to make sure people know this, that aside from any type of fundraising, any type of advocacy or research that we do, we are all about patient support as well. So if anybody, so I'm grabbing that phone number now, because we have a phone number where if you were recently diagnosed with blood cancer, if you are a caregiver of somebody who has blood cancer, if you have a medical debt that you have no idea what to do with, or you're looking for that latest treatment, or you just want to know, hey, what should I eat to support my treatment? Nothing sounds good. What's the healthiest food for me? What is this treatment going to look like? You can call our Information Resource Center. But that, first and foremost, is really important. I want to make sure anybody listening knows that there's a support team out there for them. The Information Resource Center is 800-955-4572. And then all this information, the Information Resource Center, all of our campaigns can be found at bloodcancerunited.org. You can always look up Visionaries of the Year Cincinnati, and you'll see a beautiful sheet with all of our candidates' names on it. And then that links out to their fundraising page. Any type, it's all there. And Doug's link is right there, ready for clicks.
That's perfect. And guys, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to do this, to let everybody understand what's going on. And Doug and Lauren, we appreciate all the hard work that you guys are doing to get this thing moving. And I'll just commit to trying to eat as much as I can at Chipotle and Cane's, and then I might even show up at Tap House and might do some dancing for you, Doug, if you want me to.
You gonna leave the shirt on?
Nope.
It depends. It just
Yeah.
we'll have to see how far along we get. So that one.
I heard it came off Saturday.
It did. Unfortunately, it did. Yeah.
Awesome.
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 Yeah, it was. But we really appreciate it, guys. And again, we'll have all that contact information, the websites, the links, and then we'll try to add some more information. Again, don't forget to like our YouTube page, subscribe to us. You can catch all these on all the the social media outlets, Spotify, iHeart, all those great media outlets there for you. We'll try to get this out as soon as we can, just so we can get this branched out. But you guys, we really appreciate you taking the time. And Steve, another fine job by yourself too, as well.
Well, I appreciate that, Dan. I hoped I brought my A game, but no, seriously, this is a beyond a meaningful thing. For lots of reasons. Home here, but obviously, for Doug, and this is the very least that I can do. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for Doug and for the campaign.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think let's beat that 50,000. Let's try to get it up to 60 or 70. Let's try to push it, and we'll try to get everybody to eat like crazy and have a good time at the tap house. But you guys, thank you so much for taking the time. I know everybody's busy, everything's going on, but we really appreciate you taking time here tonight to join us.
Thank you.
Great.
All right, so we're gonna
Thanks,
go ahead and wrap
guys.
it up here. So for Dan Albers, Steve Ellis, Lauren Young, and Doug Ass, you've been listening to I'll Tell You What. We'll catch you guys next week. And again, don't forget to donate and help out. Let's get Doug over that $50,000. Have a good night, everybody.